Right, guys, here we are, MMA UK News, Stoomboy as always, MMA UK BJJ show. So, talking about an event we had about 3 weeks ago now, so Grappleking 7. Absolutely fantastic event. Unfortunately, I was meant to be over. Obviously, I had some issues at the airport, so I couldn't get over, but obviously it was an absolute fantastic night of grappling. As we had some of the best grapplers from all over Ireland and Northern Ireland were on the card that night. So it was an absolute fantastic night of grappling. Now, one of the guys that was on it is obviously my next guest. So Kieran Davern, SBG Tullamore. Now, Kieran's one of the top grapplers coming out of Ireland at the moment. So maybe not at the moment, obviously for the last number of years, I'd say he's been certainly one of the top guys coming out of Ireland. Comes out obviously a fantastic camp, as we know, SBG, an unbelievable camp at SBG. Obviously, we see SBG gyms all over the place. Obviously, we've got one here in Scotland, and so on and so on. So SBG definitely one of the top gyms when it comes to not just grappling, MMA, and so on and so on. So, yeah, Kieran was up against Owen Lives. He didn't get the decision on the night, but put on an absolutely fantastic performance against Owen Livesy. So Kieran, listen, absolute pleasure to have you on, buddy.
Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
No,
looking forward to talking to you.
Definitely. I know we tried to speak to you beforehand, but obviously I know what it's like. You're busy. You're a busy man. So
yeah. Between coaching and training and family life and that, it's hard to make time for everything. But look, I suppose everything happens for a reason. We're here where we are now. So
definitely, sir. Definitely. So Kieran, obviously you were on the event that night. So obviously, tell us a little bit about Grappleking Kings and obviously how it came about in Ireland. Then.
So. As far as I know, Adrian's one of our lads. He trains here. He's a purple belt under me. He's very good jiu-jitsu, active competitor. And I suppose, like from what I know, he wanted to put like an invitational event together. A few local lads on it in the beginning. It was really successful. And then obviously it just had a snowball effect from there. He got like bigger names on the second show and kept building out on the third one. And I think that was number 6 or 7. Was it 7?
That was 7, yeah. Grappleking 7, yeah.
So within 7 shows, it's kind of gone from strength to strength. So it's a credit to Adrian. It's a credit to the Irish grappling scene and the UK grappling scene as well. There's lads from the UK that come over and some lads from Eastern Europe and areas like that. So look, it's a credit to jiu-jitsu all over the country in the UK and even some parts of Europe and even to Adrian as well for putting the show together. He ran a show last year in COVID, and obviously it was tough. I presume it was tough. Do you know what I mean? We were only allowed like 50% capacity at shows. But look, he's out there. He's doing his thing, and every show it's getting better and better. So it was a pleasure to compete on it against Owen, who's obviously really good competitor and really good lad. He's a top lad, and just a fun match and just a fun event to be on.
Definitely. That's the thing with we talked about you talked about obviously the going from obviously Grappleking 1 right up to Grappleking 7, and that's one thing that we've seen not just obviously in Ireland but all over the place where the growth of jiu-jitsu certainly over the last few years has been absolutely massive.
Yeah, the Irish jiu-jitsu scene is like it was always big, and obviously it's after getting bigger in that, and I think obviously with the rise of McGregor 6 or 7 years ago or whatever the time was, that's obviously helped spearhead Irish jiu-jitsu, or at least bring that part of martial arts to the wider kind of community in that. So that's definitely had an effect. And then it's really nearly every town in Ireland has a jiu-jitsu club. Some are older than others, and some are more active than others and that. But the scene's growing. It's like the way in Ireland years ago, and it still is this way. Every club is a boxing club, or every town is a boxing club in it. So it's kind of coming that for jiu-jitsu and even MMA. It's obviously Ireland's a fighting nation, the same as like say Scotland and other parts of the UK and everywhere else. So it's kind of in our blood, it's in our culture and that. So it's great. It's definitely trending in the right direction. And loads of big shows and tournaments popping up each week and that, and especially now after COVID and that, there's competitions every week for all the young lads and everything else. So it's great. You know what I mean? So it's great to see it grow and see how far it's came. And I'm only involved in it maybe about 15 years or something like that, but even to see how far it's grew the last 15 years is unreal. So I'm sure in the next 5 to 10 years, it'll be even better with hopefully the Irish Sports Council looking to recognise MMA as a sport, and then obviously jiu-jitsu, and that should fall underneath that. So yeah, it's all good. It's positive. Everything's trending in the right direction.
Yeah. We noticed that in obviously the UK, obviously Scotland, England, Northern Ireland, and Wales, where obviously it was recognised. Jiu-jitsu was recognised as a sport last year, which was unbelievable. I mean, and again, we've been shouting for this for years. I mean, not just obviously the UK, obviously Ireland and a lot of other places have been shouting to get jiu-jitsu especially recognised as a sport.
Yeah, it's big. I think that by the looks of the way Ireland's looking at the moment, I think it's like MMA will be recognised first by the Irish Sports Council, and hopefully that's not too far away. I think like the IMA, who's our kind of like our they're kind of like our they run our national team and the events for the nationals and everything else. They're doing a great job in making it as professional as it can be. From the medical side of stuff, and from like say even just the how well trained the athletes are and looked after, and even just down to like say equipment and everything else. So there's no more IMA can do, as far as I know, and it's just basically it's on the Irish Sports Council now at the moment to recognise it. They've crossed all their T's and dotted all their I's. So hopefully that's done sooner or later, and jiu-jitsu and everything else should fall under that, all going well, and I think it's all going to be good. Push the sport in the right direction. So, for the future generation, all the kids and teens coming up, like you couldn't ask for more. There's never been a better time to be a part of jiu-jitsu or MMA in this country, and I'm sure it's the same in Scotland and England and everywhere else.
Definitely. So there's a lot different now than what it was 15 years ago, Kieran. So
huge difference. Like huge difference. Like even the facility that the lads like get to train on now. Like I don't know if you can see, this is our gym behind me here. I'm just after finishing a training session. This is our main mat, but these are like we obviously take pride in our mats and everything else, but like they're Fuji mats, and for us they're like the Rolls Royce mats. It took us years to get that. We were like training on foam with tarp just going on top of it, and sometimes you'd sink in and hit the concrete, and then we upgraded the jigsaw mats, and then now we have like say good mats that we're proud of and everything else. But I do tell the young lads and that, like literally we were training in sheds years ago on top of foam and tarp and that was good for the times. But look, and that's the evolution of the sport, and the next generation are going to do better than us and so on. So we're obviously doing something right, and even the young lads have like black belts coaching them. Whereas when we were when I was starting out, I didn't have a black belt, and then I obviously moved to John Kavanagh up in SBG Dublin, and he was the first black belt I've trained under, and then I kind of opened up my own place and everything else, and the rest is history. But there's never been a better time to be a part of jiu-jitsu in Ireland.
Yeah, I remember me 8 years ago in Scotland, and we were training under blue belts and purple belts. We had a head coach was a black belt, but our main coaches were blue belts, and I don't even think they were purple belts. I think they were blue belts when I first came in, and that was who was training us. And that was 2014. Whereas now you come to Scotland, and I think the last count we had something like 60 black belts or 60 something black belts. So a lot's changed. Yeah, a lot's changed in just 8 years, but 15 years, a lot more's changed. So
Scotland seems to be growing a lot as well. I've some friends over in SBG Murray, Martin and Kevin, a few of the lads there, and they're all good lads, and there's great buzz in that gym. I don't know if you've ever been to it.
Not been to it, but obviously I know the boys up there. So
it's a great gym. Absolutely. There's a good vibe in it. The lads are 100%. Really slick jiu-jitsu, good coaches and everything else. But even to see how far they've grown in the last couple of years is unreal. Martin got his black belt recently, and Kev got his brown belt and that. So yeah, it's just class to see it growing. Especially in like smaller towns, where I live is like there's population's only about 15,000 in the town itself. And we're about an hour away from Dublin, so we've really good high level jiu-jitsu down here in the Midlands, and it's only growing. It's getting better and better. We literally just finished a training session there about 15 minutes ago, so that's why I'm sitting on the mats trying to get a bit of water into me and everything else.
Yes.
I bit my tongue there a few minutes ago. I was wrestling with one of the young lads, and he was wrestling up from guard, and he headbutted me, and after like my tongue's kind of fucking swelling up, whatever. But sure, it's all a part of it. It's a good start to the week anyway. I'm in the right place on a Monday.
Definitely.
All good.
And that's what. And then obviously we talked about Grappleking. Grappleking. I mean, what Adrian's doing. I mean, especially for highlighting Irish jiu-jitsu, Irish grappling. I mean, obviously he's putting it again with it being on Flow Grappling. You're having guys who are like blue belts and stuff like that are now being seen on the biggest stages on Flow Grappling by potentially millions of people all around the world, which again for Irish Jiu-Jitsu, you talked about the evolution and bringing people's games on. I mean, something like that would have been, you talked like 15 years ago, if there had been someone like Flow Grappling when you were about, I mean, how would you have felt?
Yeah, it's unreal. Like even I do say to a lot of the young lads, or just a lot of people that I talk to in general about, like, if you see the amount of like attention that the American grappling scene gets, and you know, it's high level and everything else, but Flow Grappling is obviously based in America and that, so it's easier for them to do a lot of media stuff and everything, and, you know, go to the gyms and film everyone and everything else, and you can see the recognition that the American athletes get. So anything like that for the European scene, the, you know, the UK Irish scene and all that, like that's unreal. And regardless of belt color, the lads are in the right place and on the right stage, or, you know, the right stage and the right platform. And if their jiu-jitsu is good enough and everything else, they'll reap the rewards and they'll get more opportunities and everything else. And yeah, it's unreal. It's, you know, I hope it keeps growing, and I'm sure it will keep growing. And the more recognition that Irish athletes and UK athletes get, the better. You know what I mean? So I just wish success for everyone, especially everyone that puts in the work and puts themselves out there. Do you know what I mean? I hope everyone gets a piece of the pie and achieves all their dreams, you know, by putting in the work and putting themselves out there.
Definitely. And that's one thing. I mean, when I did the reason I do the interviews is because I wanted to give people, especially grapplers, the same kind of similar kind of media exposure coming up that MMA fighters got. Because as you know, MMA fighters get a lot of media promotion and pushes and things like that. So I want to do the same for grappling. And then when Adrian messaged me and said, "Look, do you want to do something for Grapple Kings?" I was like, "Yeah, no problem." And the thing with not just Ireland, but Northern Ireland as well, everybody I messaged, they were like, yeah, let's talk. So I was very busy, and Adrian was like, "Man, how are you putting out so many?" And I was like, "Because everybody's saying yes." So it's good.
Great, isn't it? It works both ways. You know what I mean? You're obviously giving them a platform, you're giving up your time and everything else, and you're trying to build your thing, and you are building it, and it's really positive. And then the lads are doing their part by, you know, jumping in and doing the interview. So it's a two-way street. It's great, and I wish you all the success as well. And I'm sure it's going to keep growing and growing. I've seen loads of lads literally start, you know, just a social media page. And I suppose the big thing is just to be consistent, keep showing up, and you know, keep improving on every interview and everything else. And it's great. You're getting great attention and everything else, and the athletes are getting great attention. So more power to you. I hope it keeps growing. I wish you all the success in the world.
Thank you very much. And then what about you then, Kieran? What's the plans? What have you got coming forward?
I am competing next weekend at the ADCC trials, so that's the next one. That's my only goal for this part of the year, the first quarter, first half of the year. And after I get the trials out of the way, I'll pick a new goal and I'll work towards that. I have a few big goals picked out, but what I've said to myself this year, I'm just going to work in quarters. You know, so I'm going to work like what's ahead of me, say for the first 3 months, next 3 months, and so on, because it's great to have big goals and long-term goals, but I think that you need you need to, I suppose, work towards your short-term goals and your daily goals, and then the big goals will eventually take care of themselves.
Yeah.
So that's what's up next. The ADCC 88 division. I'm sure it's a stacked division, but look, I'm ready. I'm in shape. I'm always in shape. Was competing obviously against Owen a couple of weeks ago, which was great. I jumped in on that, like say on probably like 4 days or something like that. And
it was quite
good
quick,
match. It was fun. I learned a lot, or took a lot away from it. Really enjoyed it, and I've built on that performance. And hopefully, I get to show that in next weekend in Poland at the ADCC trials. So that's what's next. Loads of coaching, you know, traveling and teaching and everything else. So it's non-stop.
Yeah. Well, listen, all the best next weekend when you head over. So I would say we'll definitely be looking out for the results and keeping up to date. And then final thing for you then, Kieran. So obviously you've been in the game, as you mentioned, 15 plus years. So anybody you want to shout out to, so friends, family members, teammates, or even any sponsors that you may have.
Yeah, the big ones are my sponsors, Tatami Fightwear. You know, not only are they like a great brand, they're just the lads that run it are just unbelievable. They do so much behind the scene for scenes for jiu-jitsu and young athletes and everything else. And you know, I get on really well with the lads, and they look after me, and they have been for a few years, and I've nothing but good things to say about them. My wife Jamie, that makes everything possible, and all the coaches and my teammates and all the members at SBG Tullamore. You know, they obviously help sharpen me and get everything, or help me get ready for competitions and everything else. And the Irish jiu-jitsu scene as a whole, and the UK scene, you know, I just enjoy competing, training, traveling, and everything else. So anyone I've met or trained with, they've obviously helped sharpen my blades in some way. So it's all good. So life is good at the moment. So I'm just going to continue to build on what I'm doing and see where it takes me.
Perfect. Listen, we're definitely looking forward to seeing more of you in the future. We always love seeing you out there, whether it's on Polaris or whatever you're doing. As I say, we always love seeing you. So, as I say, definitely one of the top grapplers coming out of Ireland. And as I said, you're the one, you're out there representing the country and so on, which is always brilliant to see.
I appreciate that. Thanks very much.
So there you go, guys. Kieran Davern, SBG Tullamore. Anybody that wants to come over to visit, how do they get in contact with you, Kieran?
Oh, just Kieran Davern on Instagram, Facebook. Just give me a message. If you want to call in and train, you're more than welcome. Any affiliation, any belt color, size, or whatever you want, just come in and train. There's no ego or anything here. We just love training with different people. We literally had one of the lads called in this morning from a brown belt under Lachlan Giles from Absolute MMA. Really good lad. His name's Alec, and that. So I got to roll with him. He's here for a couple of weeks. We had another lad from Absolute MMA as well last week that was in here. Really good lad as well, Andrew. So yeah, we've loads of people calling in. Just call in if you want to train, and I'd love to train with you, and all the lads would be delighted to train with you as well.
Perfect. Listen, I'll need to go over to Ireland. As I say, I didn't have the best. Well, I was supposed to come over earlier this month, as you know, but obviously I had issues at the airport. But as I say, definitely looking forward to coming over again.
The next time you're over for Grappelekings, we're only 25 minutes away from the venue.
Yeah.
So if you want to get some training in, and you're over for Grappelekings, come in and train with us. A lot of the lads will be on the show and that train here as well. So if you want to get a session in, you're more than welcome.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Kieran.
No problem.
It's an absolute pleasure, buddy. Enjoy your time in Poland, all right? Good luck. We'll speak to you soon, buddy, all right?
No problem. See you soon. Thanks very much for having me.
Take care, buddy. Bye-bye.
Bye.